thank you for joining me. My name is Miriam Cruz, and I'm a certified probate and trust specialist. I'm also a senior specialist, and I help families that are going through probate or have a trust sell real estate. So today I wanted to talk to you about the differences between selling a property through probate as opposed to selling a property as it is as a regular listing. So many times that people reach out to me really don't understand the differences between selling a property as you would on the regular market and then selling a property that has a probate case attached to it. So I'll explain the differences today. I want to go over why it's important to work with someone who's licensed when you're selling through probate. What are some of the documents that are required here in California, specifically in the counties that I work with? The protection and disclosures that are included along when you sign up and work with someone who's licensed. Also, some of the exemptions that are used for a person who's going through probate and did not live in the property or did not own the property, so it belonged to the person who's deceased now. The responsibilities of a personal representative or the executor or administrator of the estate. And then also talk about the counties that I serve and the differences that these counties have. Hopefully ensure that no one, gets into any legal battles with anyone, whether it's a family that's involved or just the buyer on the other side. Whenever you are selling a home through probate, if it was a home that did not belong to you, that belong maybe to a family member, a friend, whatever the case might be, and you're filing through probate and you've been granted authority to sell the property. So basically you receive the court letters that authorize you to sell the property. It's important to understand that the paperwork included should relate to probate. So there are some documents that the Association of Realtors have that let any buyer know that this is a probate sale. Especially, it's important to notate when someone has died in the property, which sometimes it does happen. We have to report that and make sure that the buyer knows someone died in the property within the past 3 years. Again, this goes only for California because that's where I sell properties at. Some of the paperwork that's included will be the same as a regular listing. Disclosures will be the same, but there are some differences in which you have to disclose certain things. There's something called a seller's exempt form, in which you as the seller representing the estate will have to answer some of the questions to the best of your ability, but not as if you were selling the property yourself as the owner. Because there's many times in which you won't have the answers. You won't know what some of these answers might be for the property because you didn't live there or it didn't belong to you. So these documents allow you to complete certain questionnaires and certain disclosures in which you are telling your potential buyer that it wasn't your property, and to the best of your knowledge, these are the answers related to the property. Most importantly, what you get from the court is something called letters. The letters is a document, so one single document that authorizes you as the administrator or executor to sell the property and become the personal representative of the estate. Once you have that document, then you can start making decisions and you can decide if you want to sell the property or not. It really depends. Every situation is different. I have had clients, maybe siblings that want to keep the property, but there's still a loan on the property and no one has the financial means to keep the property, so they end up selling it. Or there could be a situation in which, one of the family members wants to keep the property and they just pay out the rest of the family members and they end up keeping the property. Or they keep it together and everyone owns a certain percentage on the property. So there's really many ways. There's so many layers to this, but what's most important is that when you're selling through probate, that you use the appropriate documents and that you are reiterating in the documents that you are the administrator. And your real estate agent should be aware of that, should know. So these documents are specific for probate. The responsibility as a personal representative. So many times when I speak to my clients, I let them know that, in fact, if they are the personal representative, they are responsible for ensuring that everything is accurate, right? To prevent any liability or any lawsuits. You don't want someone to say that you weren't doing your job efficiently. So as a personal administrator of the estate, it's important that you work with an agent who also understands, because the legalities are pretty strong, and also it is your responsibility to ensure that everything is flowing accordingly. And one of them is to maximize the estate. So to ensure that you're making the most money, especially if there's other heirs or other people that are going to benefit from the sale of the house. You don't want anyone to claim that you didn't sell the house as much as you could have, or that you did something inappropriate. I have had those situations when people reach out to me because they feel someone took advantage, right? So then that creates a whole nother situation for the courthouse if someone claims that the property wasn't sold for the max amount of money. So it's important to really understand that process as well, to hire someone who's highly qualified and to make sure that the paperwork is done correctly. And I won't share too much about the paperwork so I don't confuse you, but your agent should understand that there are additional disclosures and documents provided to any potential buyer in which there is a probate sale, because you're not selling using your name, you're representing the estate. In addition, it's important to have a bank account that is for the estate. The EIN number is linked to the estate, so it's not your social security, it's not the person who passed away, it's a EIN number that is connected to the estate. And the bank account in which, once we sell the property, the funds are deposited are going to go into the estate account. They don't go into your bank account, they don't go into anyone else's, they go into the estate. So it's also important to have that documented and to make sure you're prepared for that. And again, when I talk about these situations, I'm specifically talking about California because that's mainly where I work. So the counties that I work in are San Francisco, San Mateo, Alameda, Santa Clara, sometimes Santa Cruz, San Joaquin. So I work in multiple counties here, and it's important to ensure again that this paperwork is accurate because it is a public document. Many of these documents will be filed with the court. So you want to ensure that anything that is filed with the court is done accurately. Your attorney and your real estate agent should be communicating and should be ensuring that they're both on the same page to meet the timelines. If you don't have an attorney, you're handling the case on your own, that's also great, but you also have to ensure that you are submitting the documents to the court and that everything is done as accurate as possible, because it will be filed with the court and it is a public record after that. So many times when I call clients and they ask me, how do you know about my case? How do you know all this information about me? I always tell them I looked at the file before I got on the phone call with you. So I want to make sure that I understand where you're at in the case, because that does matter. You're able to see a lot of information online, which is beneficial as a real estate agent who's helping a family, because you'll know exactly where they're at. But also know that many people will have access to your case. So that's why it's really important to have everything as accurate as possible. So again, my name is Miriam Cruz. I specialize in probate trust and working with seniors. If you need any assistance, feel free to reach out. And thank you for watching. Take care.